My name is Joaquin Zihuatenejo. I'm an award-winning teacher, a world poetry slam champion, a cool poet, but most importantly, I am my grandfather's grandson. Everyone who's had any success in their life has it because there's been one person who believed in them, who pushed them in the direction of success. For me, that person was my grandfather, because you see, when my mother could not and my father would not raise me, but there was mi abuelo, who took me in, taught me everything I know about life, hard work, the importance of education. Everything that I am, everything that I have become, every bit of success that I have in my life, I owe to this man. My grandfather was a very simple man. He was a yard man. That means he mowed the front and backyards of these far-off foreign suburbs of Dallas, Texas, places that I didn't even know existed, because all I knew was the shadows of downtown Dallas and the barrio of East Dallas. But he wasn't just a yard man, he was also a treasure hunter, because he would take things that people had put out on the curb they no longer wanted, things like bicycles with rusty chains and lawnmowers that wouldn't start no matter how many times you pull the start chain, and books. His most sought-after treasure were books, boxes and crates of books that people would put out on the curb they no longer wanted. He would bring them back to la casa. And in the living room, in the sala, we had this little simple two-tier shelf, and he would stock that shelf with books, and he made me read them out loud in English to him. And he would get on to me and scold me when I was just going through the motions, because sometimes I would just be reading the book to get to the end of it. And I remember one time I actually mustered the courage to challenge him and say to his face, "Abuelo, why do you make me read all these stupid books?" And I'll never forget what he said to me. He said, "Mijo, this barrio is surrounded on all sides by gangs and violence and drugs. But when you're inside the poem, when you're inside the story, when you're inside the book, you are safe. And none of that can hurt you." And with those words, a spell was broken. And with those words, a life was saved, mine. Everyone succeeds because you have one person who believes in you. For me, that one person was mi abuelo, my grandfather. And most of what I learned about life, I learned from him in his simple garden, this small plot of dirt beside our home. This poem is for my grandfather. This is called Abuelo's Garden. Bendito, bendito, bendito sea Dios. Los ángeles cantan y alaban a Dios. Memories of my grandfather's garden come back to me differently than other child of the hood memories. Memories of my grandfather's garden come back to me in well-water voices and deep chest hymns that begin as a gurgle deep in the belly and rise to the throat slowly. I remember little of the day my friends jumped me in. I remember fist flailing, and afterwards those deep, fleshy embraces only Latinos know how to give. But grandfather's garden comes back to me with aromas, with tastes, with corridos sung to the sun and novenas sung to the moon, thanking both sides of life, the light and the dark, for their bountiful harvest. Ay, Dios mío. All those nights we knelt together in brown earth, it was always about harmony, about balance. Heed and tone deeply, thanking the life-giving soul for its gift, and I'd follow suit, carefully pulling up cilantro, manzanilla, hierba del manso, always making sure a metal spade never touches fragile root. Sweet, ancient abuelito, how could I be anything but a poet after those moments we shared? Don't you see? In my grandfather's garden, chiles grew. In my grandfather's garden, children grew. In my grandfather's garden, poems rose from the earth like the twisted arms of La Llorona, desperately reaching out for her missing children. In my grandfather's garden, all of these things would rise slowly, because beautiful things take time to bloom. In my grandfather's garden, all of these things would rise slowly, like well-water voices, like deep chest hymns that begin as a gurgle deep in the belly and rise to the throat, slowly singing, always singing, bendito, bendito, bendito sea Dios. Los ángeles cantan y alaban a Dios. Los ángeles cantan y alaban a Dios.